Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at White Castle, published by Devere Games. This is a 2 to 4 player game, and it's going to be a worker placement game, which is going to be one of my favorite types of games ever. So, with that said, I have played a lot of worker placement games. I am very picky on which worker placement games make it into my collection because there's just so many of them, and very few offer a engaging, fun experience. A lot of them, some of them have like unique little twists to the game, but don't quite deliver in the really like repeated play enjoyment portion of the game. They might be enjoyable a couple times, but is this a worker placement game that I can play 10, 15 times a year, which is a real number for me for an individual game that I like getting at that time to the table that many times. So, like I said, I'm very hard on worker placement games. Let's see what I think about this, but let's go ahead down to the table. I'm going to show you what this game's all about, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is the White Castle. We're going to do a quick overview of this game, so I'm just going to give you an idea how the game plays so that you know if this game is going to be for you or not. Now, this game is going to be played over 3 different rounds. And each of these rounds here, we're going to be placing out workers and doing multiple different actions. At the start of the game, we drafted in reverse order these cards here. And these cards here actually give you your starting resources. So in this case, I would have gained 2 food. I would have gained 1 iron. I would have gained 2 money and 1 daimyo seal. Now, that's going to be my starting resources for the game here. Then I flip this card and it actually becomes part of my lantern bonus for the game. And the other card that I drafted is going to be my current reward for using my player board. And then this guy eventually will come over and be here too. But anyway, that's what it took to set up and how you get your starting resources. And then we're going to go in player order here. You would have picked a first player at the beginning of the game, and then we go in clockwise order. Later on, we actually look at how far along you're on this track, and that's going to determine the player order. Now, what do you do on your turn? So let's say your turn's up and you're ready to go. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be drafting these dice from these different bridges here. If you draft a die on either the far left or right, if you draft a die on the far left, you get a bonus. You get to do that lantern bonus, which is going to be down here, and that gives you whatever number of rewards you have to the right. If you grab the one on the right here, it's going to be the highest number die, and that's in itself its own reward. Now, these dice here, when I draft one die, I have multiple different things I can pick from. I have 5 different places here on the palace that I can go. I can also go here and I can go to the well. Now the well is the simplest one. Now when you place die, you're going to take a look at your number and color, but in this case, color doesn't matter. We're going to take a look at the number here, and this is a 5 to the 1. If it's higher than the number that you're placing on, you get that difference in money. If it's lower than the number you're placing it on, you have to pay that difference in money. But if I go here, generally you're going to be making money, and then I just get these resources to the right, which these 2 are random at the beginning of the game, but they will be the same for the rest of the game. So in this case, I'll get another one of these daimyo seals, I get an iron, and I will get a money. Other things I can do is I can go down onto this board here. And not only does the number matter, so if I go here, it's a 5 to a 3, so I'd gain 2 money. This red here has 2 red die, so I get to do both of those actions. So I got to do the top action here, which is going to be recruit here. So I can take one of my soldiers, if I play one of these seals here, and take it from the far left of my player board and place it out in an area that I can afford. I have 1 iron, so I can place it here for 1 iron. All right, so this one is going to give me a couple different rewards. One is it's going to give me 3 pearls, which is really helpful for getting points at the end of the game. Because when you go into this area and you place your things here, you get to get bonuses per number of people that you have in the castle. So in this case, I'll get 1 point per person I have in the castle. If I had gone here, I'd get 1 point. If I get in here, I get 2 points per person I have in the castle. And you can have as many soldiers as you want in these areas. So that's one thing that you can do. The other places you can place the die is going to be in these locations right here. So in this location, I can either pick to go to the, I also got the other reward. I would have got a coin, then I would have got the well reward, which would have been another one of these seals. And then I would have also got an iron and a coin. Now I could have picked the order that I did this in, so I could have picked this to go first, and then I would have had one more iron, but it wouldn't matter for what this was. So then my turn would have gone and gone around the board to the next person, and so on and so forth. When it comes back around to me, there's a couple other locations I can pick. I can pick these locations here. If I pick this one, I can pick either the left or the right. One other quick note is that another player can actually place their die on top of here. This number does count. However, you can stack up to 2 dice on all these locations, except for the well, which is unlimited. You can just put dice there. And this face is always the one that counts. But anyway, I can pick one of these two. So you saw what I can do if I go out to the training yard, but I also can go out to the bridge. If I go out to the bridge, so let's say on the future turn, I actually grab this 6 here and I place it here. If I go out to the bridge here, I can take one of my farmers here and I can place them out here. Now I have to pay food, so in the upper left hand, or I guess whatever, the top, is the number of food that I have to pay to place my farmer there. I also will gain this number of points at the end of the game, and I get this reward. So let's say I do want to go out on the board here and I have 3 food, so I'll go here. I will pay 3 food. We'll just pretend I had 3 food. And I will gain 2 of these seals. And at the end of the game, I'll gain 3 points for having my farmer there. Now I can only have 1 farmer of mine on each of these locations. Any other number of players can put theirs on there, but only 1 farmer from each color on these locations. Another cool thing that will happen is at the end of the round, if there's any dice left on these bridges, whoever's farmers are underneath the bridge that has dice will be able to fire off their bonus again, which is really, really cool. All right, so other locations that I could have gone, I could go on my player board. If I go on my player board, let's say I put this 5 here, I'll have to pay the difference, so I'll have to pay a coin. But then I'm going to get all the rewards starting from here over. So that would give me 2 iron. And then I would also get to go out to the training yard again. So I would gain one of these soldiers here off the board. I have 3 iron right now, so I can go over here and I pay 3 iron. Now this location here lets me fire off any one of these white ones. So let's say I'm looking at this, and one of the actions I like is getting 2 of any other resources. I'm going to get 2 more pearls, so to help me out there. So you can see how you can sort of like chain things together throughout the game. But another thing that you can do is you can go into the palace. So if I use this action here, so let's say on a future turn, I come in here, and each time we draft these dice, they drop down, by the way, from whatever side you need to. Let's say I draft this die right here and I place it here. I can then go to the castle. So to go to the castle, I can pay 2 coins, which I have, to place one of my people at the entrance. And then I can either pay 2 pearl or 5 pearl to move this person into the castle. So if I pay 5 pearl, I can move this in 2 spots. Now I can move up to here or here, whatever I want to do. If I was here, I could still move here. These are just levels, are all adjacent to each other. But once I move up to this level here, if I leave the worker there at the end of the game, it's worth 6 points. You can add any number there. But I also gain this, and I get the white bonus on there too when I gain it. So I'll move up the track here, and I will get a lantern action, which will give me another one of these, and it'll give me an iron, and it'll give me a coin. Okay, and then I take this card that was here and I place it here to make my lantern bonus even better. And then this one comes down, and now this is the new bonus that I get for using my player board, which is pretty cool. Then I will place out a new one here and move on. Now if I make it up to the top here, if I'm one of the first 3 people to do there, I can pick my bonus So I'll gain my lantern bonus, and let's say, or I could go here and I get lantern bonus twice. But at the end of the game, I can get 10 points per worker that I have up there, which is pretty cool. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draft until the round ends. And at the end of the round, we're going to look at what dice are left on these bridges. Those person's actions will go off, and we'll go to another round. We're going to continue on doing this until we are at the end of the third round, and then we're going to score up. And you can get points a lot of different ways. Like I said, you can get points from where you have on the board. You can get points for just gaining them throughout the game. So you have this point track. So the person with the most points at the end of the game is going to win. In a very quick nutshell, that's going to be the overview of the White Castle. Let's go ahead back up the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this game. All right, so that was White Castle. Now, component quality for this game is amazing, which gets to my only complaint about the game at all. It doesn't actually fit in the box. So I don't know if I want to disassemble those beautiful little bridges each time or whatnot. But yeah, just doesn't quite fit in the box, which is slightly annoying, but that is my only complaint about this game, period. So the art is amazing in this game. Like I said, the component quality is amazing in the game. This is a really good bang for your buck just in the quality of the game itself. Now the gameplay itself. Oh my gosh, do I love this game. This game is 100% going into my board game collection, and it's never leaving. I really enjoy this game. This game actually may become my favorite worker placement game, and it's definitely has a contender for my top 10 of all time. I really love White Castle. I was very pleasantly surprised at how engaging this game is and how much fun this game is. There's a couple games where you can have some actions and you're like, that is really cool. I got to do really great things on my turn, and it was a lot of fun. This game, it feels like it's all the time. Even if you're preparing for another one, you're like preparing for an amazing action, which I think is awesome. You can have these cool things where you do tons of stuff on your turn, and it's really important that it has this because you only really get 9 turns in the game, but those turns can be spectacular. I really enjoyed it. And it's really cool watching other people take their turns because you're invested in it because they may take a space you want, but you're also looking at what they're doing to try to match it or make sure you're ahead of them. So there's a lot of player interaction just in the fact that you are invested in what your other players are doing. You're also invested in where they go because you have limits on how many dice can go in those different spaces, which can end up hurting you if you can't get the exact thing you were looking for. So you have to strategize, and you have to make backup plans, and you have to try to be able to get the most out of your turns, even if you are thwarted with your primary goal, which I really appreciate. But either way, when you take your turns, it just feels like so much is happening, which is really cool. I just love this game. This game has so much depth to it, has so many different paths to victory. It's just great. If you're looking for a worker placement game, or you like what's considered Euros, this game I highly recommend. If those are the things you like, you definitely should play White Castle 100%. You may or may not like it, but it's a good experience to have in there, and I think people are going to tend to love it. So that's why I think this one's so strongly in that if you like Euros, if you like worker placement games, you should give this game a play. It's that good. And I'm really sad that I didn't get this to the table sooner because this game, like I said, really amazing, and I love it. And that's my thoughts on it. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. It helps us go towards getting more content out to you guys, helps us going towards getting better equipment and growing as a channel in general. We're a small channel, and all this really helps us immensely, and we appreciate anything. Any of the likes, any of the subscribes, comment in the sections down below. We love to get dialogue going with everyone, all that stuff. But either way, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.